Maybe it's something within us all, a desire to feel a part of something bigger than ourselves, to be part of the it group, to be the loudest voice, a champion of change, a hero to the underdogs. But this natural desire can sometimes lead to just the opposite. People creating problems in order to protest against them. People taking offense to things unrelated to them to feel included. This sort of heroism burns buildings, loots, and curses out law enforcement. How did we get here? Hello, my name is Rebecca, and I make videos exposing the problems within our educational system and offering solutions. Today we're talking about activism, its influence in schools, and how we can be sure we're uplifting the right voices. If that sounds interesting to you, please like and subscribe, and of course, keep watching. Activism in America has been around forever, but in different forms. People with causes have sought to make their voices known by bringing about important changes that improve societal issues. Today's world, however, is a little bit different. People have a multitudinous number of tools at their disposal for transmitting information and perspectives. As the most digitally involved generation, it's no surprise that Gen Z has been increasingly involved in activism. Yet the topics they're concerned about and the voices that they raise are a lot different from previous generations and may just show a global problem. Let's talk about it. In the age of technology, people have unlimited access to information. Being online 24/7 means that you're exposed to everything, all the time. The worst headlines often get the most clicks. The internet screams, "The world is ending, the economy is collapsing, you'll never own a home." Sound familiar? No wonder so many teens are depressed and anxious about their futures. Research by the Walton Family Foundation found that 42% of Gen Z battles with depression and hopelessness. Harmony Healthcare IT's research report shows that 61% of Gen Zers have been medically diagnosed with an anxiety condition. Multiple studies state that Gen Z is the most depressed and anxious generation. Many of them turn to social advocacy because it gives them a sense of control, a voice amid the crowd. A survey of 10,000 people by the research firm Edelman shows that 70% of Gen Zers are involved in a social or political cause. Many teens turn to the digital space where they feel that they are most comfortable expressing their beliefs and opinions. An article by United Way says that 66% of Gen Zers' activism takes place online. Online, they rally together using hashtags such as MeToo, Black Lives Matter, and many more. The BBC article says 1 minute they're reposting cat memes, the next they're flooding Starbucks with fake job applications in a stand against the company's decision to fire workers attempting to unionize. Many people herd together behind a narrative that may or may not be true, and they don't consider the consequences. Is social media the true culprit for all of this, or is there something else discouraging these young people and pushing them into social advocacy? Not only are societal issues in the news, but they're also often in the classroom. Some states and districts have incorporated social justice themes into subjects like English, history, and social studies. Students may study issues like systemic racism, gender identity, climate change, or economic inequality. WITS, or WITS, the largest provider of literacy enrichment programming and corporate partnerships in Chicago public schools, according to their website, published an article by Lori Brooks. She says, "As an educator for social justice, I want my students to change the world. I believe school has to be bigger. It has to mean more than I teach my subject. School has to be about teaching people to change the world for the better. The only pathway to a more just education system is by adopting a radical and relentless pursuit of social justice teaching and learning practices." This idea is mirrored by other educators throughout America, where social justice teaching is seen as not only an extracurricular, but as a critical aspect of education.
So for me, when I think about reimagining education, I envision education for social change, placing an explicit focus on leadership development and social justice advocacy. And in fact, for me, it's a dream come true. I always wanted to become Miss Freedom Fighter Esquire. Basically, Wonder Woman with a law degree and an afro.
I noticed just sort of the real like level of influence that you can have over the way that young kids are beginning to understand the world. You can really have a lot of power to shape the way that these young children are beginning to conceptualize the world. And when I got in the classroom, I noticed that a lot of the curriculum in the classroom I first started working in, I found to be like somewhat problematic, and I just kind of really came to view early childhood education as like a social justice issue, if you will.
How can this mean anything except that you're using your influence in order to have this unbalanced dynamic between you and the students to sway them toward a political bias? 4-year-olds need to learn how to read. They don't need to be questioning their identity or worried about if the water they're using to wash their hands is destroying the world. You know, it's not killing the earth. Come on.
At the younger level, you know, kindergarten, first, second grade, the kids do what they're told for the most part, right? The teacher is God, what they say is true. I can tell you when it's Earth Week in our school, my kids come home, we're recycling this, Mom, you're using too much water. I'm fine with that, but they absorb everything that they're told.
Children are extremely impressionable. They have open minds. They're willing to learn. They have a tremendous ability to create skill sets and apply information. I believe that students should be taught to think critically, form solutions to problems, develop sound arguments, and communicate well. But anytime someone is using their influence in order to push one side of an issue, that is indoctrination. That is problematic, and that does not belong inside the classroom.
It is an active indoctrination appeal to children.
Correct.
Get them as young as you possibly can, and they'll stick with you all the way through. Are we creating an entire generation of climate activists?
Yes,
we've already created them.
We are creating them, and it's being reinforced. But my concern is that it's based on fear. I mean, we're already seeing poll numbers that kids between the ages of 13 and 17, the majority of them have a fear of climate change. And you have them angry and feeling guilty that they're responsible for it.
Motivated by fear or anxiety, people can act spontaneously, uplifting false information, blaming the wrong things, or even putting their and other lives in jeopardy. In fact, some people don't even know what they're protesting about. Take, for example, this article from the New York Post by Ricky Schlott. She states, "Forget the 3 R's. These Ivy League elitists are schooled in the 3 I's: ignorance, indoctrination, and Instagram." I hate that it's true. The writer Ricky was at the Columbia protests in April of last year, and she noted signs saying, "Dykes for divest, gays for Gaza, and lesbians for liberation." Let's look at what she wrote. These are Ivy League students with they/he pronouns, and yet they are woefully unaware of the fact that merely being gay in Gaza can amount to 10 years prison time, according to Human Rights Watch. I have little doubt that the vast majority of students chanting Intifada Revolution and From the River to the Sea don't really understand what they're implying. In fact, when a Berkeley political science professor polled students about the chant From the River to the Sea, he found that, while 86% of students said they supported the chant to some degree, just 47% of those supportive students were able to correctly name the river and the sea in question. The most popular incorrect rivers were the Nile and the Euphrates, and the most common erroneous seas included the Atlantic, which is an ocean, the Dead Sea, which is a lake, and the Caribbean. At least it is a sea. This is crazy. And in case you think that, oh, that's extreme, that wasn't what was going on, I want you to take a look at this video of anti-Israel protesters at New York University. Okay, let's take a look.
And what would you say is the main goal with tonight's protest?
I think the goal is just showing our support for Palestine and demanding that NYU stops. I honestly don't know all of what NYU's doing.
Is there something that NYU's doing?
I really don't know. I'm pretty sure they're... Do you know what NYU's doing? About what? About Israel. Why are we protesting here? Palestine will be free! I wish I was more educated.
She didn't even know why she was there. Some people said, hey, let's go, protest. We need you. And she just showed up. And I think this just further proves that young people are pushed into protesting and into activism without actually knowing all the facts or even understanding the topics fully. It's sad and it's embarrassing that our education has stooped so low that mob mentality is taught, and it's considered a good thing, a good part of education, just to teach them to believe one side without seeing the full picture. And then, of course, there are the peaceful protests that block streets, burn buildings, and threaten and attack people, like what we saw just recently in the LA ICE riots.
Streets of Los Angeles, protests ballooning over a big portion of downtown LA and onto the 101 freeway. This video shows a protester throwing rocks at federal vehicles leaving the area.
I completely agree with one of the comments on this video by K Stringer. How is destroying, defacing, and looting locally owned businesses going to help anything? It's not. It's not. It's embarrassing, and it's only going to hurt your reputation and hurt your cause, showing that your perspective is not worthy of respect. So no, it's not helping. Taking a stand for what you believe in is important, but you must remember that your freedom of speech should never infringe on somebody else's. We must protest peacefully, and we must know what we are protesting. The education system has failed us. Point blank, 100%, it has failed us. But we can make a decision today to research and to become informed before we step out and try to change the world. And remember that what you're seeing on the news is focused on only the bad. Every once in a while, turn off the computers, the phones, the tablets, the video games, and find peace from all the noise. Thank you for listening.